Hi, it's Kerry at Veganxious. I've been away a little bit. I haven't done some videos for a while. I was doing them every week. I was trying to be consistent. I've started to now see friends and family. Now I feel I'm in a better place to talk to you about real life. So what I want to really do now is help you guys, especially anybody that struggles with the nitty-gritty or how they cope with friends or family, how they actually go vegan, what do they shop with, how do they talk to their friends, how do they speak about it, how do they cope with being that freaky person that everybody hates because you make them uncomfortable. And so today's video of what I thought I would focus on first is how I actually went vegan. So I knew I was going to be vegan, but how I did it, how I started it, and what things I look back on now, what I find worked and what things I maybe wish I didn't do. And I know every vegan, from all the little stories I listened to about how I went vegan, most people say there's things I wish I had or hadn't done, because you just don't know how to act once this new switch has been clicked on your head and you're surrounded by those who are still living in the matrix. So first of all, like I said, I met somebody at the Cube. I went home and I think I am pleased I did this. I threw out everything in my house. I'm one of those people that got brought up, you do not waste. You don't waste your food. This is why I struggle with my weight so much, because you don't leave things on your plate. You always finish your dinner. You try and use what's in the house, and if you can't, what food you've got, you keep it until even probably past the sell-by date, and still try and use it or give it to somebody or something. So there's this way of not ever wasting anything. But I couldn't put that in my mouth anymore. I couldn't have it, I couldn't eat it. And I think giving it away to somebody is saying to other people, oh, I've gone vegan because I don't agree with animal abuse, but I think that this food is okay still and you can eat it, and it's still food, it's just my choice. I didn't feel that was acceptable either, because if you're going to go vegan, you need to do it for the animal abuse reason, because for any other reason, like I know as a vegetarian, I didn't stand up for them, or I didn't really partake in fully ridding that abuse in my life, because you think it's just the fact that you don't like the taste or you feel bad for the animals. You don't actually realise how awful everything that goes on behind the scenes actually is, and that partaking in that and giving your food to other people or saying it's okay for others to do it is not how you would want to be treated if you were in their position. And that's something I always try and do. Every time I'm upset and feel guilty for making someone feel bad, I try and think about how would I feel if I was living the Holocaust and somebody said, oh, you can carry on doing it, that's fine, but I just don't want to. That I would be like, why aren't you telling them how awful this is? So for me, throwing it all out was the best thing I could do. I don't regret it. I think it was, it made me feel good getting it out the house. Then you're in, what am I going to eat? Well, everybody has pasta in the house. Everybody has something you can eat. I was still left. I mean, luckily as a vegetarian, it was easier, because a lot of the things I found, oh great, that was already vegan, so I can eat that. But the next stage was I threw it out that day and then find some meals I can make for that week. So anything in the house that I've got that I can just make, or can I just pop out to the shop and just get a couple things? It doesn't have to be healthy. I can eat some jacket potatoes or some chips, and I can go out and get myself some veggie burgers or some veggie sausages, just get something quickly, or make do with what I got in the house. Make do with maybe something like I got a curry, I'll just check the back, make sure the ingredients are okay, and I'll make the curry without the meat. I'll just go without whatever, the dairy or the cheese or anything, I'll just go without that week. If it's chucked out of the house as well, I've checked everything. I know that everything that is in the house is now safe, and you'll be surprised at how many things you'll find in your cupboard and be like, oh, I can eat that actually, to be honest. So you go without it. Some herbs, some spices, you can make some spicy tomato pasta, can't you? So that's my recommendation, is get rid of it, and then find yourself some recipes online or get yourself a vegan book. For me, the Bosch Boys is brilliant. They're easy recipes to follow. They're not many, you don't need too many new things to buy. You don't have to go out and buy all the expensive alternatives, which will panic you and think, oh, veganism is so much more expensive. It's as expensive as you want to make it. The same way as if you go out and you buy tons of meat every week, your meat shopping is probably about like £40 of your shopping. Well, that's exactly the same for me when I go out and buy cheese and vegan sausages. But I don't have to do that all the time. That's every 2 weeks. My fruit and veg and pasta and rice and stuff, that's all vegan and that's all cheap. So initially that didn't actually panic me at all. I knew that I could just eat what I had in the house. I quit my diet because I was like, right, I've got to concentrate on this. So I didn't care what I was having. I didn't care if I was having some sandwiches or anything like that. I just decided I'm going to make some meals this week, what I've got, make the best out of it, and get myself a book. So I got my vegan book, and then I could start some meal planning for the next week. If you can't afford a book, the internet is free. You can go on your phone, you can look up on like Pinterest or Google some simple vegan recipes, and there's billions of them out there, so there's no reason you cannot find something on there to eat. And I even managed, my daughter, I kept vegetarian at that time. I thought I need to concentrate on myself, so but I'd got rid of everything in the house, so she still had to eat it. I just knew that when she was out that she would maybe eat vegetarian, because at the time I hadn't got to that logistics yet. And I think I'll do another video on how I coped with my daughter being vegan. So yes, I'll do a video later on about how to deal with like having, or how to cope, or how to look after your child and give her the right food for a vegan diet. Keeping in mind the fact that you've probably fed them chicken nuggets and chips and beans every night. It doesn't actually differ too much, so it's quite easy, and you can actually get a lot more veg in them than you ever used to. So for me it's been nothing but a plus, but I will talk about that again later. So you've got your book, you've got some meals planned for the next week. Don't try and emulate what you already eat, so your piece of dead animal with potatoes or chips or pasta and some veg, because for one, I know now that is not cooking. That is not being able to cook and relying on somebody else to cut up a dead animal for you, spice it for you, put it on your plate so that you can put some vegan food with it, which is your potatoes and your veg. Don't try and do that, because you're going to enjoy it so much more if you just start looking at some whole foods and getting some decent cooking into you. And it doesn't have to be difficult. Using chickpeas, they're tins, it's not hard. You just open it and pour them out, done. You can use cauliflower as in your curries as your main staple, or tofu if you want to. I mean, that's something you might want to use a bit further down, you get a bit more used to it, but you need to go cold turkey, because you need to switch that switch in your mind and maybe your family's mind that it's not acceptable to do it in baby stages. No other abuse is acceptable in baby stages. I'm not sexist on a Friday, I'm not racist on a Monday, none of that. If you can't start training your brain to look at things differently, then you're never going to truly believe in what you're doing and the reason you're doing it. You need to remind yourself why you're vegan. Yes, you may miss cheese, yes, you may miss bacon or something, but you will not miss it within like a week after you start maybe doing some education on looking at some of the videos that are out and about, like Dominion, Cowspiracy, What the Health. These are all on Netflix. Most people have Netflix, and some of them are on YouTube, and that's free with some adverts. So get some information into you on why you're doing this. And that sort of really helps then settle your reasoning when you're making choices and why you're not eating it. Stopping altogether was easy for me, and actually every time I've spoken to anyone who's done it that way, they've found it works for them best as well, because you've decided to cut out animal abuse. You're not doing a diet. This is not a diet. This is not, I'm going to try and eat healthier. I literally don't care if you go out and buy 10 packs of Oreos and stuff them in your face. The reason you're doing this is because you no longer believe in eating things that mean that animals are killed for it. So you're going to go completely cut it all out, throw it all out, and start making alternative meals. So enjoy it. I actually did really enjoy this stage, because I hadn't spoken to anybody about it yet. I hadn't had to have any of those horrible awkward conversations. I enjoyed thinking, right, we're going to use some of this chickpeas and we're going to use lentils, and actually there's a few recipes in my books already that are actually vegan already, and lentil dal is a great one. You can go and get patak sauces like Thai green curry, lots of different curries like they do gone, they do nearly all of their curry spices and like little packs that already come and they're vegan. So all you got to do is add your veg to it. So if you want, just add veg, just have corn, potatoes, little mange too, things that you probably do already. Have some stir fries. You don't actually have to add anything into it. If you've got a load of nice veg and a really good sauce, you don't even notice it because before your meat was just covered in sauce anyway. So it was almost like you feel you have to have that in there. When you don't, you realise that you enjoy this just as much and even more so now because you know how good you feel for eating it and enjoying it and realising that you can do this. So yeah, definitely curries are a great one. Stir fries are a great one. Even go out and get yourself some Richmond sausages. I mean, they're sausages, you can make some mash still with some flora, margarine and some soya milk in it. You got your mash. Gravy is still vegan. And get yourself on some Facebook sites like Accidentally Vegan. That's all products that in the shops that may not advertise or have the vegan label on them, but actually are just by accident made without any animal abuse. So you can find hundreds on there, screenshot them, brilliant. You've got yourself set to go to the food shopping now. And then you get to the shop and then you realise that each shop for some reason likes to confuse you. So Tesco, they have their free from sections. So free from in the like dry packeted area, free from in the freezer, free from in the fridge area. So in a way I actually find that one easier because I just look for the big sticker sticking out the side, free from, go for it. Just because it's free from doesn't mean it's always vegan. It might be gluten, so do check that it's milk free, but that's where you're going to find some of those like special alternatives that you're looking for. Otherwise your pastas, your breads are mostly vegan. Just check that it's not one, especially if you're eating white bread. I try to eat wholemeal because it's better for you, and I don't know, I care more since going vegan about what I put in my body than I ever used to. So just flick the lid back over and people say, oh, I can't bother to read it. I don't know how, especially girls, but no offence, but how many times are you really able to see how many calories are in something? All you got to do is scan and look on the back for milk or semi-skimmed milk or milk powder, or just quickly read through the ingredients. I've even got my daughter to help me now. She loves looking it up and she's found me loads of stuff that I didn't even realise wasn't vegan. And it doesn't actually take much time because before I know which area I'm heading to, so I can go straight there, I can pick up what I need. I've made a little list of what I want for my food shop. It's better for the environment that way too because you've made a list of what you're going to have. You're not going to actually waste things for the week. Honestly, it freaked me out at first. I panicked. I didn't know what I was going to do. I do remember walking into Morrison's, walking around and walking out again because I was like, I actually don't know what to buy and where anything is. Morrison's is a bit of a minefield. They put the vegan sausages in with the normal sausages, but then they have a free from section, but then they have other stuff scattered amongst with the cruel food. So it is a bit like, oh, I get a bit sick of it in there. Now I have got used to where things are and what they do and don't do, but their shop is a nightmare anyway. So it's like you can find your shop and maybe do like a little dry run, go around, get some bits, find some bits, be excited, like, oh, look what I found. And you get home and you find you're really excited to tell your husband or partner. That was more fun when I thought of it that way. Instead of going in and thinking this is really hard, think, I know I can get pasta and I know I can get some sort of tomato sauce. So everything else is a bonus. Once you've done that, it just gets easier and easier. So Sainsbury's, they have a huge amount of vegan alternatives. They have a whole fridge aisle just full of loads of new different types, especially now that I get excited about what I'm going to cook. I'm like, wow, they do tempura, they do tofu. You don't need any of those things to get your protein, by the way. Plants have your protein in, your spinach. I mean, we eat tons of spinach. We found these things called Edam beans, which are, I think that's how you say it, even though it looks like edamame. I don't know, maybe edamame. But they have loads of protein in. But unless you're a bodybuilder, which you're probably looking into how much protein you're putting in your body and taking that time anyway, you don't need to worry about that. Your milk has already got calcium added to it. So your soya milk, your oat milk. I mean, tips are soya milk, sweetened, much nicer for cereal and your cups of teas. Oat milk, unsweetened, much nicer for coffee. Almond is great for smoothies, although I do think there's a higher ecological impact with almonds, so I do try to keep away from that one mostly. You've got flora for your sandwiches, you've got vegan corn ham slices, vegan cheese slices. Even my local shop do those, and I can get them, and we just have a sandwich and a packet of crisps for lunch. You've got McCoy, anything salt and vinegar is usually a good one to get. So McCoy's do their own like whole like packs just of salt and vinegar. You've got kids ones, those little bears, knickknacks, Skips, so many that you don't realise you probably already buy. The only hardship was chocolate. It doesn't taste the same. Now it does. After 4 weeks, maybe 8 weeks, you will find you cannot remember the difference. And even my daughter loves dark chocolate now, and she's 7. And she, when I made her eat it the first time, said it was the most disgusting thing she's eaten. Now she loves it because your tastes change. So don't panic if you're like, I don't like this. Tofu, I made tofu scramble for my husband and my daughter when we first went vegan. I liked it. I'm not a fussy eater, so I'll eat anything. But they said it was the most disgusting thing I ever made. I now make this, and I have to make it for them every week as a Saturday night meal treat, as a fry up. And they have it every week, and they're like, this is amazing. Well, the first few times I've cooked with them, they said it was gross. So I've not changed the recipe. I've done exactly the same. Your tastes do change, so do keep retrying things, and don't panic. Like I did sometimes when I made my daughter something, she's like, oh, this is gross. Go, okay, that's fine. We'll find a different make next time. If you've been brainwashed for such a long time that you want to switch back to what you were born with, like that humanity of caring for others, you will find you change as a person. You start caring about injustice and racism a lot more than you ever even thought about before, because you just start seeing it's a massive spiritual journey as well. And I feel like me and my husband are actually a happier couple now as well. We feel so kind towards each other because we're so proud that we're doing something that's so important together. And he says he feels like he needs to take care of me more now. Like he finds that, not that I'm fragile, even though I am a little bit more, because there's a lot of hurdles, and I'll try and help you with those as we go along. But the fact that we can do this together as a team is really important. And if you have a partner that can't support you, then that, I would say that's something to worry about, because if you have the same morals as the person you're with, then once they start to see the things that you see, they will also follow you. My husband didn't go vegan overnight like I did, but he did agree to watch some of the things like Cowspiracy and What the Health. And once he did, he was like, there's no way I can continue living the way I have done. I can't be that, and I don't want our daughter to either. So I know a lot of you don't want to see bad images, but if you're on this journey, educating yourself, it's horrible to see those things, and you don't have to see them all the time, but knowing it and knowing that you're no longer part of it makes it easier to handle, rather than knowing it, burying it in the back of your mind and carrying on because you don't care and taste means more to you. Right, let me know if that was helpful at all, if you'd like any more tips on meals to eat. I think next time I sort of want to go on to how I started handling the fact that of all the new knowledge that I had, and it's bursting in your brain and you don't understand how everybody else around you doesn't care. So I hope that will be something that will be helpful. But initially, focus on yourself, focus on what you're doing at home, and then I'll talk about more the other battles that you do get along the way. And I don't want to put you off when I say battles, because honestly, as hard as it is sometimes, it's everyone else that makes it hard. Being vegan isn't hard because it's worth it if you're no longer going to be part of the Holocaust. I read a lot of things about the war, and I always think, I hope I was one of those. If I lived then, I would have been a strong enough person to, maybe not stand up against it, because you'd be so badly persecuted and you wouldn't be any help if you were dead and you couldn't help anyone. But I hope that I could have helped those that were others, like human supremacists. So people thought they were better than Jews and treated them with such disrespect and cruelty and made them worth nothing. That is what we have been living our lives with animals. We say we love them. We say in the UK we say we're a nation of animal lovers, and yet we pay for people to kill them on our behalf. We pay for them to be. If we say that they're only worth a meal, then they're never going to be treated well, because you have to switch your mind to looking at them differently to be able to kill them. So you're obviously going to look at them like the Germans and like others did in the Holocaust. You look at them as being worth nothing, so then it's easier to treat them like nothing. So for me, I hope I was one of the people, and now knowing that I've made this choice and I went vegan overnight because of that, means that I hopefully I am living to what my morals are, and I'm not going to grow up deluded and living a life where I care about nothing but just the mundane every day. I want to leave this earth thinking maybe I made a little difference. Alright, thank you very much. I really appreciate if you could share this, help others that have mental health problems, that struggle or want to go vegan and not sure how to actually start it or anything like that, and any feedback would be brilliant. So please do subscribe, and I'll see you on my next video. Thank you.